Before we get to the technology, I want you to know who you're dealing with. We've been involved in this for a long time. I have many years in the emergency management business, been building commercial emergency management software since 1981. We're joined last year after his retirement as FEMA administrator by Craig Fugate, who brings his many years in FEMA, Florida Emergency Management Director, and prior to that, Alachua County Emergency Management. And together we have refined the concept that we started with a couple of years ago in spot-on response. That concept addresses a problem that Dave really represented here, is how do we use technology to enhance our ability to have visibility across the whole medical business spectrum that you have, across the 20 councils or counties that are your feeding area, to be able to identify a problem, zoom into a hospital, the specific department, understand the plans that are there, account for the staff, provide situational awareness, and get specific information back about the problem from trusted sources. That's really the essence of being able to establish a technology basis for solving that problem. To solve the problem of this diverse asset management in an emergency, really a few steps here. You need to notify. Everybody needs to know and get continuing instructions. You need to account for those people, their location, their availability, whether they're checked into their assignment. You need to monitor the assets, whether it's a big asset like a hospital or a ventilator. You need to have situational awareness that is more than just getting a sense of things. It's actually getting trusted reports in from the staff, as well as collecting external sources. And then be able to coordinate where everybody is reading off the same sheet of music, having the same plans and checklists and floor plans, understanding the same hazards, and all of them with them whenever they are engaged in a response. To do that, let me give you the lay of the land, as it were, on how this little story will unfold. On the right-hand side, you see the browser-based technology. It's for use in your workstations on wheels or at a command center or anybody's computer at home. On the left-hand side, this is my phone that we're actually talking over at the same time. And a picture of my granddaughter. And it's that combination of the ability to use mobile application and bring it back where large groups of people gather, either for decisions or because they're all clustered on the same hallway, and you want to know that every one of the nurses is immediately available currently on their duty station. Now, the app itself includes this map that's up there and moving it around so you can see it. It includes all of these items of interest. In this case, what we have right now are all of the facilities that are part of your Rochester Medical Center. Cardiology at ACF, and here's your Wilmot's internal medicine, and there's radiation oncology. So this is information about each one of them. And as we go through this, you'll see that these are actually buttons that lead you to more information. Up on the map, you've got facilities like this that come up, little clusters of them that are there. You click on one of those and you're going to get that this is the Auburn Community Hospital, and this happens to be a neurosurgery center, part of the Department of Neurosurgery. And you're able to gather that information very, very quickly about what life looks like. And then the last piece, if we zoom in here a little bit more, and let's actually get rid of all of those overlays. And let's just take a look, because the last piece is where those people come in. And here we've got a few folks that have popped up here. This is me. I always know where I am. Over here is somebody else. That's Dave. He's on his mobile app right there. And over here, we got a couple people. There's Jim Morentz. That's actually my real name. And there are a couple other folks that were around there. But the idea of being able to understand where people are at the time is absolutely a critical component of everything that we do. So with that as sort of the lay of the land, let's play out a little bit here. A story like Dave was referring to. And it all begins by getting the message out. And somebody somewhere decides that this is going to be the way in which we've got some problem going on. And that problem is going to be indicated by, oh, I hear sirens going off here because every mobile app is now alerted to being able to see what is going on. That message that we just sent out, and Dave may be playing along, but since I can't hear him, I'm just going to pretend I'm over here on this left-hand side, this mobile app, and I come in. There's the spot on response status map that's there. And the first thing now that I want to be able to do is understand what that response was. And over there, if I click on that notification and click on that, I'm touching it, it tells me a credible threat has been received against the surgery center. All high priority surgical centers are going to get some additional security and support staff to be able to evacuate patients. Then it gives the instruction, log into your spot on response. And my status to report your current availability. If available, use spot on response to check into the surgical center you'll support, and then consult the surgical center emergency operations plan about your destination. So that's what's happening on the mobile side over here. On the browser side, I'm getting exactly the same message. So this has now showed up on every workstation on wheels where people have heard that announcement and have come over to look and see what's going on. So we'll close this one right now. And I'm going to go back here and come to my spot on response. And it said, go to my status. Right over here at the bottom. I'm going to click on my status. And currently I've been saying I'm not available. What I'm going to do is now tell them that I, in fact, am nearby. I'm on site and I'm available. And if Dave is doing that as well, and if other people, and I've got a couple of other devices here that I'm going to do so that you can see a couple of these changes. So we now have information that's being reported in by people, all from around there, understanding their own personal availability to be able to respond. Now, what I'm also going to want to do is know a little bit about what I have. And actually, before we do that, let's come back over here on the right-hand side because I can come in here, and if I zoom over here a little bit, come into the close-up area. And what I'm going to show you right now is the fact, and I'm going to do that on two sides. The left-hand side, you saw the whole area that I was involved in. If I'm on a mobile app, I'm not going to be concerned about miles and miles away. Again, my same notice of information here. If I'm on the mobile app and you look at this, I don't have all of those icons representing facilities 50 miles away. I'm only looking at a mile around. And as a user, I can set this. So I can look at all 50 miles if I want to, or 100 miles on the mobile app. But I'm really only going to be able to affect things that are a mile away. So consider what's on the mobile app as sort of the nearby piece of information that's going to be useful to me in making my own decisions about how to get the kind of response that I want to take place. So I've got the big picture on the right-hand side, the little picture on the left-hand side. As part of the big picture, I can come over here and I can see that there's Jim Morentz, and he is off-site available. I've got, what do we have there? That's Tom Kinsel, and he is on-site available. And that's who this person over here on the left-hand side is. So you saw that on-site available show up for him. I've got other people, and I can see each one of them individually. So the key element of that is if I'm working in a small area, I can see the people around me, and I can say, you know what? I've got whoever, Bob Welsh, and I can see that he's on-site committed. So I'm not going to count on Bob to be able to show up to support this activity that I'm engaged in over here. So people. But at the bigger picture, over here on the right-hand side, my management is going to want to know where everybody is. So what I have here is everybody we've been dealing with. There's the Bob, there's Patty. She's on-site available. Bob's on-site committed. Dave's on-site committed. And you see all the people. You get all the information about those folks. Contact information. If I wanted to click on the phone, I'm going to call them. If I want to click on the email, I'm going to call them. As well as a little bit of information over here that you establish. That the group says, you know, in an emergency, I'd like to know these key things. Normal work hours, skills, driver's skill, that I just made that information up. But it's a place where you can put some real definitive information about an emergency, about that individual person. So we now have an awareness of the people and where they are. I'm now going to come over here and I'm going to be this person. And I got that message. And what I want to do, since I'm available, what I want to do is come over here, and it said surgical centers. And this may, you know, again, I'm not presuming your individual concept of operations. We're sort of showing some features here because the assignment of this person may take place in a number of different ways. But here we're taking a look to say, okay, I just had this message about surgical centers. I have some skills about surgical centers. I'm available. I'm here, and I just went in and did a filter and pulled up only surgical centers. So I see 2 of them that are within that mile around me that are surgical centers. If I'd done it over here, I would see 19 surgical centers, I can tell you, all across the area. And in fact, that message told me that high priority surgical centers are going to get the extra support. So over here, I've got this high priority at Lattimore, which is just a little bit south. And I say, you know what? That's of value to me. So I've clicked on that yellow button. It provides me driving directions from where I am to Lattimore. And I can now do a couple of things. The first of which was given me in the instructions that says, hey, if you're going to go to one of these places, tell us. I do that simply by coming over here, clicking on that, doing my check-in right in the middle. It comes back and it tells me I'm part of the team that's reporting to Lattimore. And that becomes a piece of the knowledge that is now being shared to everyone. It's being shared to this person out here who's nearby, who may very well say, oh, Tom's got that covered. I'm not going to go to Lattimore. And the way I'm going to see that, if I come over here just to give you a illustration, since I do know where Lattimore is here, and I'm a manager and we're trying to figure out what's going on with Lattimore, I'm going to come up here to the surgical center. There's all the same information that we saw on the mobile device. I'm going to get some details and directions. By clicking on that, I get the same view that the people had over there, except from where I am to the surgical center. And now, in fact, over here under resources, I see that we have one that has shown up so far. And if I look at that, it tells me that Tom Kinsel has joined the team. Anybody else who has done that would be able to do so. And as a matter of fact, just to illustrate the point, this is me over here, Ron Crone. I'm going to say, yep, I'm coming too. I'm going to check in. I'm part of the team. And now when we get the resources that pop up here, we're going to see that there are two of them down here in the corner. And in fact, I can see the list of all the people who are associated with that. And Tom and Ron are there now. So as a manager, I begin to see what facilities we've asked for response to. And again, whether this is a self-directed response because I'm nearby, or whether it's one where instructions are being provided, that's up to your concept of operations. But the tool set is tracking the information that's associated with it. So we've got a number of other capabilities here, and one of them is that I've shown up at this place. I'm out here as a mobile guy. I'll do it on the right-hand side just so you can see a little bit easier. And there's a plan associated with this. I click over here to the plan. Here's an emergency plan for surgical services. Since Tom over there on the left has never actually been to this center, he wants to see the business continuity plan for surgical services. And here, this is a template that is part of your emergency planning process. I'm just using the template so that the information is non-specific. But we've got all the information in that plan immediately available. And heck, we talked about Tom being able to have it. If we pop that up there, what we're going to do is have it available for Tom to be able to see out on his mobile device as well. So we've got, let's close that one up and let's put that one back. And let's move to one last piece of the whole situational awareness. And that is our ability and need to be able to understand the details of what's going on. And that starts with the planning process. And let me move back over here. We'll leave Tom right there. He's in a good position. But let's do this up here on the bigger screen. And we've got all this happening. So let's dive down a little bit more into information that we know on a daily basis. I'm going to do that in a couple of ways. First of all, we're going to show that we can provide, as you just saw there, there we go, details. This is a map overlay. It's not on Google Maps. It is what is currently available. You provided to be able to provide this information on the, this is the ground floor plan for the whole medical complex there. But we go deeper than that, and we're going to focus on the Strong Memorial Hospital. And if I want to take a look at that and get more knowledge about Strong and every other one of your facilities, as you saw in that surgical center over there at Lattimore, I have plan information. So I've got the third floor plan right here. And were I to go over there and take a look at it, Tom's going to get that over there on his mobile device as well. Whatever information that you have that's available, you can. I'm also going to have the plans for all of the different centers. And again, these are just generic ones, but here's my cardiology business continuity plan. So that when I go to the hospital itself, I'm going to have the plans for all the different departments that are associated with it. If I'm being assigned to a department, as you saw Tom do, he can pull up the specific plan for surgical services for that department. So we begin to take that 3-ring binder of all your plans and turn it into a dynamic tool set that makes it available to everybody, no matter where they are and no matter what their assignment is. So one last piece, and as Dave intimated, we've only touched the surface of the capabilities inside of the tool set, and as a result, focusing on some specific things that I would describe as being part of the phase one of an implementation that meets the specific goals of the people and assets across a wide distributed area and being able to get the kind of information that's necessary. Well, what is that information? That information is going to come from the people who are there. And I'm going to do this, and actually, Dave, you need to do this as well if you would, because what we're going to do is do a spot report. And that spot report is how people in the field, your employees, communicate back as trusted sources. And if you touch the spot report, it automatically fills things out because there are a couple different levels of spot report. And if all I want to do is say, hey, this is a really bad problem, it's an emergency, I don't have to type anything. It knows who I am, it knows where I am, and it allows me to be able to get that information in. At this point, we're just going to do a regular report. Here's Tom. And instead of, let me just go in here and I'll type something so that you can see that this is going to be heading to surgical center and see this problem with traffic or something like that. I could add a picture. I'm not going to take the time to do that. And Dave, if you want to do that while you're playing in there, but I'll keep the presentation going. And I would then could add a picture into that by clicking on my media and making my camera go. But oh, what the heck? No, I'm using my camera for my voice, so let's not do that. Okay, so pictures and all the other considerations show up at the geographic location where I am, which since I'm in Washington, D.C., you wouldn't see that anyhow. So those spot reports allow you to begin to gather up a picture of what's happening around the entire area, coming in from all the people that are associated with the emergency that's going on. So we're now getting information in from our trusted sources. Well, there's another set of information, and this is the last piece that we're going to deal with here, and then we can open it up for questions, is external information. We've done planning, Dave has done planning about the runway hazard. So if I click on that, I'm going to bring in Dave's work that shows the 2-mile area around the airport. It's different runways, different flight paths that are coming in there, which is all part of our emergency planning. And were there ever an airplane exercise, you'll be using this set of tools to be able to understand the potential impact if you've got a plane that's coming in with some disability associated with it. All right, we've also got the ability to bring in real-time information. Monroe County active 911 incidents. If I bring that in here, I've got these folks that are having a problem right now. You got somebody who's out there. There's a dispatch that's taken place. Over here, I've got another dispatch that's taken place. Richer information should come in here, but we didn't have time to really spend time on that. We got a group that's on scene over here. So the last piece, I know my people. I know their location, I know their condition, I know the status of my buildings, and all of the different capabilities that exist across my entire view. And that entire view allows me to filter and segment information so that I know the status of facilities and buildings, as well as all of the response activities that are taking place. I'm going to come over here, since high priority buildings are always a concern to people. I'm going to select that as a high priority building, and we're going to see right now that we're going to have now gotten rid of everything that isn't one of your 70 some high priority buildings, and you now have reduced the number of dots up on the map. You have only in this list now you have 83 of the 262 facilities that you have. These are all just high priority, and lo and behold, you see a couple. One has a special condition to its operations. Down here we've got, I know there were some other, there's a special condition also, and there were a couple of closures I thought, but may have skipped by them. Well, as a matter of fact, let's do one last thing. We just got a note from the Lattimore's psychiatry department that we have a problem associated with that surgical center. And you know what we're going to do? We are now going to close our operation. So I'm coming here to my status. We're going to be evacuating everybody. I'm going to close that. Down at the bottom here, we see that psychiatry center at Lattimore is closed. If I come back here to take a look at the big list that everybody would be sharing, both on the mobile app and over here, I'm going to see that Lattimore is now closed. And if I come in here as one last thing and then we're done, we pop up all the facilities at Lattimore. You see that this one is grayed out. These all have colors. This one happens to be colored anyhow, but that one is in fact my closed psychiatry center because the color of the icon has closed. With that, let me stop, and I will go on mute, Dave, so